Hello, you beautiful people. Welcome back to the Long Term Podcast. I'm your host, Advin Villa. Today, we have father, manager at Frank Henry Canada, and my mentor, James Tylosky. We will discuss how change is possible, fatherhood, and discipline/mindset. And I actually met James at the gym, and he's just a phenomenal guy. He's got a great story how change is possible and it's never too late. And yeah, he's just very honest, very respectable, and I have learned a great deal of life lessons from him, and I hope you guys enjoy the episode. Everyone, welcome. Sweet. Welcome, James. And how do you pronounce your last name again?
Tylosky.
Okay, man. Yeah, welcome to the Long Term Podcast. I'm so excited to hear about your story, and I've heard a lot about your story, but I want to go in depth and just discuss the little things and like how you changed and what it means to be a father and about discipline and just all about your story. So yeah, can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
I guess I'm 42 years old, single dad, got two kids, both of them teenagers, both play football. Divorced 7 years ago, I guess. Been just me and the kids for the last roughly 3 years, which has been, trying and whatnot, especially with career and everything else. Trying to start businesses, gets to be busy, but anything else?
Yeah, you've always been at the gym these days, and it seems like you have so many things to manage. You got your full-time job, you got your two kids. What keeps you going?
Well, because the thing is when I first got divorced, I just realized that I thought I had to replace a mom. I had to get a mom in the family right away for the kids, which probably was a good thing to do then, but was the wrong idea. I had to be a dad. So after that fell apart and it was just us, and I realized that that's what I got to do is fix our family and fix my relationship with the kids. It really became to lead by example was the best way I could do it, because regardless if they want to listen to me or not, they'll have to see the progress. They'll have to see the change. They'll see the better, and then that's always something you can just, well, at least I'm trying, you can tell them, whereas if they're not or something.
You go through this catastrophe and divorce. It's something that I can't even imagine. I went through a breakup back when I was in high school, and even a girl rejected me just recently. And I was just feel so much in me that I feel like I'm not good enough. And I feel like it's just, I'm a failure, but then I can't imagine just divorce. And I've talked to many guys or the women, men that have gone through it. Like, what does it feel like?
Oh, dude, it's the worst thing ever. Like, divorce was bad. Oh, geez. Well, like, she got really bad into drugs and drinking. So I tried to put her through rehab. I tried everything I could to keep a relationship together, which was, in hindsight, the worst thing I could have done. I put my kids through more. I alienated a bunch of family by trying to, everyone was telling me what to do, which was right. But I've kind of always lived my life. You don't want to take advice from anybody that you won't trade places with. So if I look at somebody's life and I don't want to be where you are, why would I take advice from you? And that's kind of where I was, which in hindsight was a wrong thing to do at that time. So that really messed me up when I finally had to leave and take off. I got lucky when I got the kids full custody though out of that one. But the year, well, it was going on and I was trying to save it for at least a solid year. That was potentially one of the worst times of my life. Like I definitely hit rock bottom at that point, and I didn't believe it. And I was trying to save somebody that didn't want to be saved, because we had two kids. We've been married for 5 years, been together for 9 years or something like that, So that one was bad. But when I broke up with my last girlfriend, who kind of had become their mom, that broke my own heart. That was the roughest one on me, because I knew I had to do it and I made the right choice. And that's what catapulted me into this journey and me going maybe to the gym all the time, spending all the time at the gym, doing more with my kids, trying to be more involved with them all the time. That was the one that did it, because I didn't get my heart broke. I broke my own heart, I think, is what happened. And that really made me do it.
It was heavier on you because like you believed in this thing, right? And you wanted to fill that role, and it failed again, right? It's kind of like a second time, and where it's like, oh man, like, is this ever going to work out?
That was the thing. It almost made me spite my kids a little bit, like my one son, because they got in a lot of fights, which that took me a few months to get over, right? When I broke up with her, because I still do love the person, but the thing is that the person that I love will never exist again, right? And I've changed so much. I'm not even close to the person that she loved at the time either. I'm a completely different person. But that's one thing I had to realize, is that what we had evolved into in relationship weren't those people anymore. And those people can never come back. Once you've changed so much, you can't come back to that, because it's always going to revert into whatever anger or anything that you have in a relationship. So that, like I said, I broke my own heart, and knowing, like, it might be the first time in my life where I made a decision knowing that it's going to hurt me and continuously hurt me for a long time, but it was the right decision for my family, which I don't know. That might have been honestly the first step to everything for me, is making that one decision.
We are constantly changing, and every single day there's a little tweak we do in our habits, whether it is for the good or the bad. And you looked at your life and you looked at it from a holistic point of view, where it's not just your relationship with this woman. And I'm sure you guys get along well, and there's many beautiful things that you guys have done and connected with, but just looking at it in the grand scheme of things just wasn't worth it. And there was more cons, and it outweighed the pros. And if you kept it going, it would have affected everyone else around you guys negatively.
It would have, my kids would have had the worst thing. That was the thing. It was the first completely selfless decision I think I made for my kids.
That's amazing.
In reality, because even when I took full custody of them, it was also for me. It wasn't just for them. That decision was made solely for my kids. And that, it was the first one I probably ever did.
It's a good decision, man. And now looking back, well, it was really tough at the start initially, because, you don't want to leave this person because you guys get along so well. It's like, in the grand scheme of things, it would weigh you down, because in the long run, the kids wouldn't end up well, right? You got to look at it from their development and just the relationship. And yeah.
Well, I mean, I'd be probably 250 pounds, and I had hair down to here and a big beard like that. I look a little different.
Can you share a significant experience in your life where embracing change led to a positive outcome?
That one.
And can you elaborate on that? So what's kind of the processes? So you had said that it was the first selfless act that you've done.
Yeah. Well, when I realized that, how she was starting, so what happened in it is that when COVID happened, everybody was at home, right? No one was allowed. She had one son who was 18, so she had raised a single child, and she was great, came in, mothered. I can't say a bad thing about her for that. Came in, mothered my kids right from the start, and that's why I figured I was doing the right thing. I'm replacing a mom. I should have been being a dad the whole time, but I replaced the mom. So she was in doing that all the time. But then when they're home all the time, they were fighting. 2 boys, 2 brothers, 3 years apart. They fight like crazy all the time, always screaming. She wasn't used to that. So then 6 months, 8 months, 9 months down the road, she really started being mean to my one son. And I blind-eyed it for a little bit, because I was like, well, she's just disciplined. And then when I finally made the decision and split up with her, I ended up kicking them out, and we split and had to move into different places. And that's why me and the boys ended up in Sherwood Park. I mean, that that decision, I mean, it was hard. We had a whole acreage full of stuff, a full shop full of stuff, downsized to, I left a whole storage unit, like a 40-foot storage unit
Wow.
full of stuff. I lost all my Harleys. I lost my motorhome in that one. Like, and it wasn't a divorce. It was just like things that got sold off to pay off for things because we were buying this acreage at the time. So I defaulted on like it was a bad deal, right? So, but the change that brought about that, instantly, me and my younger son had a better relationship. I was more involved with them with their football. I was more involved with them in their school. Me and my older son, it's a lot harder, the relationship, because he was older and whatnot, I guess, and he's at that age where he doesn't really like it. But I like the change that it brought about making a decision like that was nothing but the better. My younger son does come to the gym with me. I've definitely put years back on my life from where I was. I do more things with the kid. It's just nice to be able to go out and play football with them and whatnot and help out. My work's changed completely. I've went from being able to do what I can instead of just getting by, just going to work so I can go home. Now I go to work and I put more into it. Constantly think about work all day long, with what to do. Life's completely changed from that one decision. Like completely changed.
There's
when
so
I look
many
at it.
routes that you could have taken, hey, and well, the mindset of just this is gonna be worse at the start, but then you see the fruition of your decision. You see the relationship that you developed with your son, and all of that was worth it. And at which point did you realize that, hey, it all comes together, and then you actually feel connected and the sacrifices is worth it?
The weird part about it is that like the talks that I have in the sauna, so it's probably about a year ago or so, we're just talking to people, and people started telling me like, how good I'm doing or whatever. Like I say, I go in there and talk, just get my tires pumped so I feel good about myself because everyone tells me how good I am, and stuff like that. And it's really good, but that's like, really, that's kind of where I started, sitting back and looking, you look back, okay, so a year ago to now, whoa, 2 years ago to now, holy, look at the difference, right? And you started looking at it like that. And that's probably when I realized, because I completely cut off all my friends. I don't like, you're one of my good friends. That's my friend group. Well, thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
I see so you. Like, for those of you guys that are listening, watching, I met James at the sauna. Super friendly guy, and he just told me his story. I told him my story, and we just hit it off. And actually, I derive a lot of wisdom from James. And you're just very friendly guy, and just like the change of your story is very inspiring to me. And you continue to just spread positivity, and you continue to really add wisdom and knowledge into my life. So and I'm sure I'm not the only person that believes in that.
I really appreciate it though, man. It makes me feel really good. Thank you. Thank you, my friend.
When did you start like going about talking to people and being vulnerable?
Well, see, that's the thing. I think I've always been a bit sensitive more. So I hit it very well. But I cut off my whole friends. I have one friend that I moved up here actually to work at my company from Camrose. I've known him the better part of 30 years. But besides that, everybody's from the gym, because I cut everyone off, because I realized that if I still hang out in any kind of that realm, I'm never going to be able to change. I'm always going to get sucked back into it. And so that's,
Well, with the identity that you embody, let's say you drink a bunch, you go out every single weekend, the environment that you cultivate, that the people around you, that's who you're going to be friends with. And I've heard that the people who lose the weight and lose it for good, it's a lifestyle, because usually when people lose weight, they gain it on.
It's a yo-yo.
They gain it all back after like a year or two, because it's not ingrained in their lifestyle, and they're still surrounded by people that usually eat a bunch and drink a bunch. But when you take on an identity of, okay, I'm gonna go to the gym now, and then I'm cutting off all your friends. If you don't have any friends that drink or eat like shit, it's like really sad at first because, oh man, like I've known this guy for 10 years. I go out with this person every single weekend. We get fucked up. We do all sorts of shit. But you realize that after going into a lifestyle change, some of those people actually get a little bit angry at you for changing. And I don't know if it's whether it's maybe they feel bad or insecure about themselves, or they just want you to go out with them.
Once the party's
it doesn't matter.
Over.
But it's tough because I also went through that, and I'm pretty young, I'd say, and I realized I lost so many people. And then I started making friends like just recently, just solely in the gym and with running, and it's so eye-opening to witness that, oh, like there are people that don't go and drink all the time. There are people that care about like the deeper stuff, and then the meaning about like fatherhood and relationships, and it wasn't just all about getting fucked up all the time.
Exactly.
Hey? And I'm sure it's probably so disheartening for you too, because you're in your 40s and then you've gone through this change and you've lost everyone. Yeah. And now, but it's still never too late. Hey.
No, well, like the thing is like back to your question, it was all by choice, because the thing is you want to surround yourself with like-minded people, right? And so that's where me going to the gym in the morning, going at 5 a.m. at Millennium started, was because those people, you look at gym times, people that go to the gym 5 a.m., they got their shit together. That's just the bottom line, right? That's the bottom line. You can go through the times and what kind of people are there, it is, but that is the time that people always have their shit together. So where I got to talking to people and I've always been pretty outgoing, I guess, or whatever, but I wanted to surround myself with high value people. I wanted to become a high value person in my life. So you need to find like-minded people. And that was where I found them. And so you can't be friends with people like that. You can't have a bunch of acquaintances that you talk to if you don't talk to anybody. So you have to open up and talk to people, and
you have to really put yourself out there.
Well, and being real with people is the easiest way to let you'll know if somebody wants to talk to you or not, or hang out with you if you're real with them,
Letting people in is like some of the hardest things for everyone to swallow, because you're opening up yourself for danger. And like, if the person has bad intention, they can use that against you. And I've had to learn that in a very bad way. And that's why I kind of do it in like little doses, where it's like, okay, I'll open up a little bit of this person. Let's see their reaction. If they open up something back, okay. And then you build rapport that way. And then over and over, as the time progresses, you show up to the sauna at the same time. Oh, hey man, like, hey James, what's up? And you build some more and some more. Next thing you know, you guys are fully connected, and you guys like real recognizes real. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
100%.
What strategies do you use to stay adaptable in the face of change, both personally and professionally?
Wow. Adaptability is the biggest thing, because everything comes at you so fast in life. I mean, I started a new job with Frank Henry 3 months ago. I took over management role there, and it's, they say you're underwater when you start a new job and stuff like that, right? Well, I mean, it was like I was in the midnight zone of Mariana Trench. You can't see daylight. I was so underwater at the point when I started there, because there's just so much left over from the other guy and whatnot. And now that doesn't matter. Even though work is such a big part of your life, you got to take into account, well, now you got the kids stuff. I'm the only person that gets them to football. Well, they go to school in their Drawson. So I got to get back and forth from Sherwood Park there. I work in Edmonton. I got to line everything up like that. So the adaptability is being able to shut off some things, but still continuously think about them, and be able to be completely here while I'm thinking about work, and I'm thinking about my kids. I'm thinking about what I got to do after, thinking about I got to go pick them up from football yet. And it's just what we're having for supper. I mean, these are all the things that go through my head as I'm thinking about stuff that's going on at work too. The adaptability is everything comes fast. You have to move fast. You have to think fast, but you can't let anything beat you. You can't let anything beat you is the biggest thing. If something's hard in a job or anything like that, figure out how to do it. That's what I find separates people that fall behind to people that excel. And that's what I've learned probably the most in the last few years of my life, that if you just put your mind to it and do it, you're going to figure it out eventually. That's the difference between somebody that won't be able to change, that won't be able to adapt to things because they'll just, whatever. I can't do it. I can't do it. And I see a lot of that with the kids. I see a lot of that with my oldest son, where he won't, and I'm continuously trying to push him to, no, just figure it out. So what if it takes you a little longer and you think it's, and that's the same thing with working out. It takes you longer to get a six pack and you think, right? Well, it's still going to be worth it at the end, right? Is it not going to be worth it if you don't get one? So
it's sink or swim
all day, every day.
You can choose to adapt to what life throws at you, whether it be you get a girl pregnant, or whether you get fired from a job, whether you have to go through grief, death of a loved one, you go through disease. There's really no point in playing victim, because there's other people that have gone through it, that have gone through worse, that it is going through worse, and some of them get through it. And while we try our best, sometimes it'll never be perfect. It'll never go as planned because just shit hits the fan. And we try our best, and we adapt to the situation, and we can't put too much guilt on ourselves, hey? Because if we go, oh, I've tried my best, it's still not enough. And we go, okay, like I'm not good enough. No. You tried your best. That's okay. There's no shame in just going, okay, accepting that you tried your best. Like you put in the work, and as long as you try your best, that's all you can really do. And like, I guess you could say that's subjective,
it's your best,
right?
Though.
Yeah, as long as it's your best.
It's your best.
Because you know deep inside.
That's the thing.
Whether
you know yourself.
You know yourself the best. So if someone is telling you, oh, you're not trying your best, or they're accusing you of certain things that aren't true, you know yourself. You know in yourself whether they're right or wrong, right? And maybe you'll get mad. Maybe you get mad because it may be true.
Well, as you should.
Yeah.
In that case.
Yeah. So how do you encourage others to embrace change, especially when it involves stepping out of their comfort zone?
How do I encourage people to do that? I don't know if I encourage it directly a whole lot. I notice one of the hardest things for me when I first started going to the gym was feeling really out of place. Felt out of shape, didn't feel like I belonged there. I felt like everyone's looking at me like, what's this tub of shit doing here? Like literally just felt like the biggest piece of shit all the time there. So I actually make a point that when I see someone new at a gym or something like that I go, because I go to all of them here. So if I see somebody new or whatever, I see them twice, I'll say, hey man, how's it going or whatever, and help, just because that little bit might bring that person back so they don't feel so out of place. Because no one talks to anybody, right? Like, you notice that at a gym, a lot of people don't talk to anybody. You see someone new there, they ain't talking to anybody.
They're terrified.
They're not going out. They're not saying, hey, how do you do this? How do you do that? Hey, can you help me? Nothing. They ain't saying shit.
And you and I are kind of the outliers, because I see you talk to everyone. I'm the same way. I talk to everyone too. And that's how we get along too. And you put people that just are extroverted and wanting to talk to people and aren't scared. You recognize the real in them, and then when you're honest, right, that adds to it. When you're loyal and you're respectful,
exactly, and you see those guys again, you're like, hey, good to see you, whatever. I don't know if it helps them or not, but like I'd like to believe that that might give the guy a little bit of push. Maybe he'll go back because he's like, hey, maybe James will be there, say hi to me. I don't fucking know. Like, I'm not that great of a guy, but maybe it's enough to bring a guy back in a little bit. So that's kind of I really don't know how I've directed anybody to go out of their comfort zone that way, except trying to promote them to feel good doing something.
Tell you what, James, I had an awful day at work probably last year, and there's this guy I work with. He's Jamaican. His name's Winston. He's a big jokester. He's very compassionate, just very caring, makes a lot of jokes. He's very, very loud, and He's a father of two, and they're all, I think, graduated now, and everybody respects this guy. But I had a bad day, and he comes up to me. He's like, "Hello, young man." He calls me young man, and he just, I guess he was joking, but he wasn't joking. He's like, I care about you, and for some reason that just like gave me this, like, just made me feel so uplifted. That simple sentence of, "Hey man, I care." He could have said, "How are you?" too, and just talking to him, just, it was pure genuine. And I've noticed that look in people's faces too when I ask them, "Hey, you can do it, man. Like, how are you? I care." And yeah, bro, like, maybe not for everyone, because they're like, "Oh, I don't really want to talk." But when that day comes, and I'm sure it's probably happened where, oh, this guy named James, he's approaching me. I wonder what I'll say, and maybe they'll feel a little bit tense. But then you compel them to keep going with their set, or to be themselves, and you accept them for who they are. Yeah, I'm sure it helps, man. I think for me personally, I think I'm a human, and I'm sure I can just kind of predict maybe other people, maybe not everyone, but I'm sure there's someone out there. It's like law of probability, right? Like,
well,
the
that's
more
what I feel. Yeah, I'm like, there's got to be at least one person I've helped like that, So
yeah, because even with this podcast, like, somebody's got to be listening to this. Just one person. I just care about one person just listening to this and going, okay, I'm not that fucked up, and change is possible. Okay, James went through this divorce. He literally hit rock bottom and just lost all those, the motorhome and then the Harleys.
Wow, that's the second time I lost everything too.
Oh, jeez, yeah. And you go through these bottom.
I had two impairments before I was 18. Yeah.
Oh man,
dude, I've lived a very, very checkered life in my past. That's the thing. Like, all this change to where it is it's all fairly new too. This isn't a long journey for me. It's just the beginning of a long journey.
It's this Rocky quote. It's not about how hard you hit. It's how hard you can get hit, fall back down, and keep getting back up, and then keep moving forward. Yeah. And I think that's just like the premise of like how life goes, like in all facets, hey? Like the going to the gym, maybe you have just a terrible day, but you still go anyways. You get knocked back down at work, and you still approach the day with just having a spirit of intent and purpose and encouragement in yourself, and that belief, and still with a smile on your face despite just the chaos of home life, of like job, of everything, right? Because I'm certainly a believer of, okay, my life may be like fucked up at the moment, but like, I'm still going to show up to the gym with my best attitude, right? I'm not going to weigh people down. And I'm sure you're the same way.
Oh yeah, dude. Because man, my grandma told me a long time ago, everything happens for a reason. And I have to believe that in my life, or nothing makes sense to me on what's happened and everything that's been going on, right?
I can't imagine just a life without meaning and purpose. Like, I just can't. Like, I'll play with the idea. Okay, what if we're just on this floating rock? Nothing's ever going to matter. And I'm like, I just can't. I just can't fathom all this having no grand scheme and no trajectory. It all has to be for something, because like talking to people and adding meaning, and I'm pretty religious and praying and meditating and spreading positivity. But at the same time though, even if like it is for nothing, at least it was positive.
Yeah. I don't know. I can't believe it's all for nothing, because it ain't all for nothing for me. It's already something for me. So that all for nothing thing doesn't really.
Yeah, true. There's this argument for religion, because I'm very religious, and it's, if you win everything. If you lose nothing.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And you could make this argument for just trying in life and being a positive person, right? If you win and then there is an afterlife, doesn't necessarily have to be Christianity, God, you'll get rewarded for it. But if you lose, then you're just in damnation.
Oh,
right?
Exactly.
So with fatherhood, how do you balance your roles as a father, manager, and mentor?
Mentor, thanks, buddy.
Yeah. Well, with the people that you meet and just being in the gym and encouraging people.
Okay. Dude, my whole life is 15-minute increments. Like because I only got so much time allotted for everything. So and balancing for a while there, I would go to the gym in the morning, then I'd have to come back and I'd do breakfast with the kids, make sure they're up for school. Then I'd go off to work, and then I'd go back to the gym with the kids if I could, and then back. The balancing of it is you take it as it comes and you just do it. There is no, there's like it. Well, even today with doing this with you, I made sure my kids could get out to football. I got to go out there and pick them up. There's no, it's the balance is yourself. Are you content? Can you be happy when you're doing the things? You are capable of it. Everyone has to believe they're capable of it. It's you just find a way. Yeah, man. It just maybe it's something that comes easy to me.
Maybe it's acceptance with you. It seems like you go through dilemmas, you go through chaos. Sure, you feel heavy, but you don't put too much stress on yourself. But okay, you do, there is stress, but you don't overthink it. You just do.
Yeah, that's one thing. I can't overthink anything. The only thing I do overthink is some things at work, but that's just because they keep spinning in my head with everything. Myself, I can't overthink anything with myself. But that's been one of the main things with actually, you know what? That's not having a relationship probably is the hugest thing to balance everything for me right now. If I had a girlfriend, that everything would be messed up.
So, I mean, you're going to the gym, you got 2 kids, you got to drive them to the football. You have all these responsibilities with a full-time job. And as a single father, that's a lot. That's and still making time to be personable at the gym and making friends and cultivating a life worth living. And you're still building, right? And I think eventually, man, what I predict is you'll just find someone at the gym who sinks in with your program, or not program, with your routines. I think that's how it's going to play out.
That's probably what will eventually happen. Like someday I'll have that Disney moment where it's Twitter painted and there's fucking butterflies and bees and shit and rabbits bouncing their legs and stuff. And that's it. I'm sold. I can't do anything else. But I think pursuing girls and whatnot and anything like that would I don't think I'd be able to have any balance. Like where I say I just do it, it just comes easy. But if I put that into the mix and I was pursuing girls and I was trying to have a relationship, I really wanted one. Like, I mean, dude, don't get me wrong, I get lonely all the time. Like, yeah, of course, but
who doesn't though? Who doesn't?
That's the truth.
Yeah,
that's right. And I don't go out drinking much. I don't go to the bars and whatnot. So it's fairly easy just to not have anybody, type thing like that. And it seems that that's probably what balances it, is not having a relationship, to be honest.
Bro, but there's this quote, to have an exceptional love life, you must cultivate a love for life first, right? And I think that's what you're kind of trying to do right now. And since you've gone through this low point and you're still kind of dealing with the dilemmas that pop up and with your sons, and I know teenagehood, man, is rough, because I know I was a teen, man, and I would say some awful things that I deeply regret to my father, and he would cry, and because I would feel bad, but I would just be so entitled. Like I'd say these things to my father, who I love, and I knew he just wanted the best for me, but I just wanted to party. Like I just wanted it my way because my brain wasn't developed, and I knew he just wanted the best for me, and I knew that deep inside, but I just didn't want to see it. And it took so long. It took me until I was like 20 to realize, hey, this is a guy that wants me to do well. And there's this thing that I saw where your father is like one of the only men in the world who actually wants you to be a better version of yourself. Like the only, because like we men, like we want to be better than other men. We're alpha, like that's just ingrained in us. But the father, they're the ones that go, okay, I went through all these things. I just want to teach my son how not to get roped up in all the things that I got wrong. Yeah.
No, 100%. Yeah. That's one thing. Like a true father, a man that's a good man, that's a father, wants his son to be better than him. That's 100%. That's what his dream is like, and I want my kids to have way better lives than I ever did. That's 100% the thing. but yeah, like the only person that's made me cry in the last couple of years is my oldest son. Like a little prick.
You talk to my dad. I think lots of dads have that problem.
Yeah,
where
I'm
it's
like, man, I'm like, dude, no one talks to me.
It's
how
like
you
you
do.
give so much love to this person, and it's like you go to the gym and you're lifting weights, and you're like, when other people talk to you, you're strong man. But then the son, or whether it be a daughter, when they're going through those rough moments and they just say whatever's on their mind. And I've had some friends too talking to them where they're the same. I think it's normal, man. Like, I think it's just, everyone, you just got to take it with a grain of salt.
The sauna has completely reassured me that that's all normal for a kid to be like that at that age.
Yeah, that's fair. What values do you consider most important to instill in your children?
Oh, man. Like caring and love. Empathy. There's one thing I'll never give my kids trouble for, sticking up for themselves or anybody weaker than them, because I don't think there's enough of that in this world. I think people are way too quick to walk on other people, step on other people, especially for very short-term gain. Very short-term game. Even you want to talk about kids making fun of another kid or something like that. So, like, being good people where even, your name means something. I mean, if someone says James Tylosky, I hope they're like, oh, it's an honest guy. It's a good guy. Not like, that's a piece of shit. Like, I'm sure there's people out there that say that about me for sure. But do you know what I mean, though? Like, it's to be a good person. I just honestly want to raise two men that are good people, not taking advantage of people, and want to help other people.
Yeah. Empathy is a great tool for reinforcing that, hey, sure, we are going through some rough stuff, but then there's also someone out there who's going through it, and you can connect that way. And it actually, what ends up happening is you develop deeper connections, not only with your father, but also with your family and the friends all around you. And not cultivating that in a child sets them up for failure, because it doesn't matter how talented you are, how successful you are. If you don't know how to empathize, you will lose everything. Or if you don't lose anything, nobody's going to want to be around you. And you had mentioned like sticking up for yourself. Like, there's so many weak people out there. I feel like majority of people will just let other people walk all over them. And I've seen it happen. And even at work, there's this guy, he's a father too. And all his children have graduated university, but he's like two-faced, right? He'll like talk to you like, hey, like, this is great, like great conversation. But then behind your back, he'll talk a bunch of terrible stuff. And then people that do open up to him, he'll use that against you, and like just it's like really immature stuff. Man. Yeah, it's a grown ass man. This guy's in his 50s. So I was actually really proud of myself. Last week, I heard him talking smack about my friend who's also a dad. Then they're in similar situations. I don't know why he's talking smack, but I went up to him and, hey, like, I didn't cuss him out or anything. I just said, hey, I would do this for you. I just don't like this type of attitude, and I wouldn't stand for it. Can you please stop calling him this name behind his back? If you're going to, do it to his face. Yeah. He said, okay. But that was it. It's been so long. It's just been tearing me up inside. Man. Oh, thank you.
Good for you, bro.
And
most people won't do that. Most people won't go that extra step.
And this guy's in his,
and enjoy it.
And this guy's in his 50s. And I feel like a kid, people, the Gen Z, right? I feel like we're all so weak. Like, I feel like people like millennials, like boomers, can just take control of us. Like, I feel like listening to people in their 40s, 50s talk about Gen Z, you guys think we're all weak because, and you know what? I think it's true. Like, it's because there's like this whole, oh, you need to be sure, like, empathy is great, but oh, you need to be nice to everyone, but you need to stand up for yourself. Like, you got to empathize to a certain point, but if somebody's walking all over you,
Yeah,
You
you
have to
can't
just
let that happen.
yeah, no.
No, you can't. That's it. You have the, well, that's where, like I said, I'm raising men. I'm not raising boys. I'm not raising people. I'm raising men, and that's the thing. They have to learn to stick up for themselves. But I mean, it's like that saying, but hard times create hard men create easy times create weak men create hard times. Well, we're in that cycle.
Yeah. And then when things ultimately get bad, who do we need? We don't need men that cower away and run
No,
away
you
from their
need the
problems.
hard guys.
Yeah, you need the men that will do the necessary things, that won't just, okay, like.
Mm-hmm.
This won't be the last episode with us. I know that for sure.
Oh, man, I'll be on anytime you want, man. I have to always support my friends.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of people will derive great value from this, man. Like a lot
hope so.
I'll share it all around with the different dads at work. Be like, hey, I know you haven't, because like I really connect with like the parents at work. Like they share a lot of their troubles with their like sons and daughters, and honestly, it was like really. I'm like, it sounds really familiar. I acted like that. I acted like a piece of shit. So I'm like, yeah, you just got to do this. Like they already know what I'm gonna say. Like They just need that kind of, because I'm sure we already know the answers. Right? We just need like
nice to
that
be
little feedback and that little reassurance that like, hey, it's just a phase.
Mm-hmm.
And like, sure, you repeat it over and over, but it's just like, it's helpful.
Oh, it's hugely helpful.
Yeah. I'm sure you probably get that too with like other dads or like moms who go through a similar situation.
I get it. That's the thing. Like I said, like a lot of help just reminding me, hey, that's how they all are at that age. Eventually, I'm like, I know, I'm just hoping that when my younger son hates me, my older son likes me again. So the flip works out and I still got one buddy in the house, right?
Can you share a proud moment you've experienced as a father?
Oh man, actually, this is super recent. This was really good.
Oh, cool.
So when I broke up with Leanne, I didn't really like. I'd get Christmas. I get a few things from my parents, right? From my kids, right? But like birthdays and whatnot, really not much. Father's Day, no, because they don't. I mean, my kids are at that age where they're not doing that shit at school. They're not making clay things, ashtrays, or whatever the fuck, right? Exactly, right? So I don't even know if they know what it is. Like, there's been a couple times where, you don't get a happy birthday and stuff like that. So this Father's Day, I woke up, I was going to go to work. I'm like, man, I'm going to work. I was going to go into work and put some hours in there because there's stuff that I could have done. I had a bunch of emails I could answer, whatever, right? Like just dumb shit I didn't have to do, but I could go do it. So I get up in the morning, go make coffee, and kids come, oh, you're up, Dad. Hey, come running over. They give me this bag. I'm like, oh, it got a card in it. And they got me this ring, eh? So they got me this ring. Now, the thing is, it's a Harley ring, right? And it's like a spinner. It's not really my style, but it's cool. It's for my kids. I love the shit out of it. Like, I'm going to keep this forever type thing. But it's got in a box from Harley, in a bag and all that. So somehow they found somebody. They got a ride from Sherwood Park to the Harley store in Edmonton. Went and got this thing before Father's Day. I don't even know where the hell they got the money from. Like, they're saving up. I give them money, right? So they must have saved up little bits of this money that I'd given them for the last while to do this. Dude, it melted my fucking heart. like when they gave us, because I was expecting nothing. I was going to work. I didn't expect a happy Father's Day. I didn't expect nothing. And like, it didn't matter to me. It's fine. It's like, whatever, man. It's just a day. I don't care. But to not expect anything, just have a normal day, and then have that done where they had to put all this stuff together. They had to hide it. And then they made steak and stuff like that for supper, right? Because I'm always doing the cooking. So like they had all this plan. I don't know even where they hid the meat. Like, I don't know where this shit was hiding, but they did all this stuff. So like, man, like that's like that little bit of that day. That's just like, oh, things are going right. Things are going right. And like that, man, warmed my heart so much. Like, oh, you can see I'm still happy from that, and that's a couple days.
That's amazing.
So, yeah. So like that's a really recent one, but it was beautiful.
And you'll remember that forever. Oh, and something with beautiful. Us being tremendously happy is we remember all the details.
Oh,
right?
man.
Especially when it's fresh. Yeah. Like you remember just like the surprise, and you remember just like the gift, like the wrapping, and like the day and the time, and the effort of going to that store and kind of the mystery of how did they do it?
That's
and how
I
did
don't
they
even want to know.
do this?
Yeah.
And it's so special that they thought of you just in advance and added in all these the effort
Yeah.
in itself. Well, they could have just like gotten you like a little card, right?
Dude, they could have
just
done nothing.
Yeah, they could have done nothing.
I would have been fine.
But they did.
Yeah.
And something compelled them, and it's love, and it's compassion, and it's the fact that you're a good father, right? Because no kid would put in that much effort if you were just a deadbeat dad, right? They go, hey, I need to show my dad that I care, that I'm thankful for what he's done and the sacrifices he's made. Because parents, man, there's no guidebook to that.
Oh, dude,
like it's just like I've heard it's like another full-time job on top of another full-time job, and many argue that it may be harder.
Oh, it's way harder.
With a full-time job, you can just clock out.
Yeah.
But with parenthood, there's no clocking out ever.
No, exactly. Like with my work, I might think about my work all day long too, just because I got a lot going on there. But if I lose my job tomorrow, if I get fired tomorrow, I'm going to bounce back up like that and have no job. If I lose my kids tomorrow, I can't bounce back up and have my kids next day. So it's a way different thing when you're talking that compared to anything else, really, like with work, like you were saying.
The connections that we cultivate in our lives are the reason why we can get through the pain. It's the reason why we can go for that extra mile, that extra rep, that extra hour at work, that extra time to never give up and to align our thoughts with our actions. It all comes back to our loved ones.
Oh, 100%.
And like I've heard time and time again, the people on their deathbeds, they never go, I wish I worked more. They never go, I wish I got $1 million. I wish I made more money. And no, it's, I wish I made more time for my family, for my friends. I wish I spent more time with my kids, and I wish I did more stuff with them and I got to know them better.
Well, what's that thing they say? Your job's posted before your obituary when you die.
Yeah.
So you better put everything you got into your job and not care about your kids, man.
Yeah. But at the same time though, you need to make money, right? But
you have to make money. We're in an environment in the world right now where it's very important. I mean, believe me, it is hard on a single income raising kids like tough. That. So, we're both parents. I mean, I've been in 2 parent relationships where everyone's working too, right? And it's, there's not enough money out there. So you do have to work, but like you said, you have to be able to shut it off too.
And it's drawing that line of
what's more important to you.
Okay. Yeah. Making money and being there for the people that matter. While it's great to make more and more money, at the same time, you don't want to sacrifice what truly, truly matters. Right. And I feel
I'm gonna lose this pillow, bro.
Sorry, it's all good, bro. Yeah. But so what daily habits, or with discipline and mindset, what daily habits do you practice to maintain discipline in your life?
Oh man. Cold showers in the morning.
Oh yeah?
Dude.
So Wim Hof's type?
Dude, it sucks every day. I've been doing it for over a year now, and it sucks every day. But if I do it, I know I'm going to get going faster. If I do it, I know.
Dopamine, man.
Yeah, dude, man. It's 100%. Like the 3 minutes in the cold shower, you're more ready to go than whatever the heck you're going to do in the morning. It doesn't matter. So, but it sucks. I'll walk past that shower with a cup of coffee in my hand for 5 minutes, staring at it, just not wanting to get in. Because it sucks every day. Every time you do it, it's a cold shower. But that little start there brings me on. And then you do all your other little things, you make your bed, all that. It's those little things of discipline like that just make it easier for me, I feel. And that's the first thing in the morning that starts.
That small win.
Yeah.
And it's like a snowball where you
cascade effect.
And then you just have this big snowball near the end of the day because you started off with that cold shower.
Exactly. It's like you can't fail throughout the day because you already won.
Yeah. And it's always the hardest thing, and like whether it be relationships, whether it be like self-improvement habits, the easy thing, it's never valuable. Hey? Like,
No.
like you could just sit down there, watch Netflix, smoke, drink, do drugs,
Oh yeah.
eat
Lots of
all
fun
the
stuff.
unhealthy foods. It's so easy, right? Because it feels so good in the moment.
That's why quitting's easy.
Yeah. I'm sorry?
That's why quitting's easy.
Yeah, but then at the reverse,
Easy's never good.
the cold showers, the hitting the gym, the having those tough talks with your children, taking that big step with ending a relationship that you really value because you see it not going so well for everybody in it. The hard way, the path of most resistance is always the right thing.
100%.
And it's just, I can't imagine a single thing where that's not the case.
Dude, because it's the shittiest thing ever. It's the worst. You have to realize that anything that's coming easy is shit. So in your life, no matter what comes easy to you, you have to realize it's shit and it's not worth it, which is one of the horriblest things to really wrap your head around, because that means you never really win anything unless it's hard work. Like anything you win except that you put the work into isn't worth it. You know, like it's really a weird thing to realize.
That's why 99% of, I think it's probably more, lottery winners lose it all within the 2 years.
100%.
They didn't work for it.
It's not worth shit.
Yeah. It's
they don't understand the value of a buck.
The progressive overload of like trying and failing and trying and failing. If you were just given a great, amazing body, you're probably going to lose it after a year, probably weeks.
Oh, dude.
Right?
If I would have looked like I look now in my 20s, I still would have looked how I looked 3 years ago, because I wouldn't have gave a shit.
Yeah. Warren Buffett talks about this idea of unearned wealth. And I'd say in all facets of life, that's true. Because if you, the beauty is in the struggle, man. And there's, I guess, a little bit of ugliness in the success, because you crave that struggle again.
Yeah,
because
it's the journey.
You look back on the days where your struggle, those become the most beautiful. Because then you're at this point and you know how bad it gets, and you compare it to now, and you have so much gratitude, and you're so thankful for, hey, I went through that. Now I'm able to understand it. And it's like this underdog mentality. That's why we revere the people that were here. That's why like stories like yours are so inspiring, because, it's so relatable, because we all struggle.
Yeah. Well, people like the thing, people love success. You love success. You love succeeding at things. Everyone loves succeeding. So when you look back at something where you've struggled with, and you look at the success of it, it's impossible to feel bad.
With success, though, with the kids that are just given the expensive cars, the Teslas, and the Ferraris.
Not success.
Yeah, well, it looks cool that they have millions of followers. They're just giving it. We don't. Nobody respects those people, and like the kids that do respect those people don't know hard work.
No,
they don't know sacrifice. No. They don't know to prioritize the path of most resistance.
100%. Yeah.
How do you stay motivated and focused on your goals?
Mostly I think it's just my kids, man, to be honest. Like I said, I try to lead by example, because I can't get my older son to do many things. My younger son will come to the gym with me. He'll do things. He'll listen to me. And even when I have conversations with the two of them, it's like, hey, so how's your life been since you started listening to me doing it? He's like, well, my life's awesome. My older son can give two shits, right? He doesn't care. So all I try to do is lead by example and do that, whatnot. So it keeps me going. I want to try to, like I said, give my kids a better life than I had, raise them in a different way than I was raised, give them the right values in life. So that is my motivation, is my two sons.
You think they'll be listening to this?
Oh, I'll make them. No, I don't know.
Hopefully one day, even if they don't right now.
My younger son will, because he's I told him he's pretty jacked. I'm coming to do it. I'm you met, because you met my younger son.
I did. He's a beauty.
So I mean, so he's jacked. He'll probably listen to it.
Oh man.
Yeah.
He'll listen to this, and then maybe 5-10 years down the road, he'll listen to this again, and he'll just realize just how fantastic of a father you are. Or even after you've passed away. Imagine that.
Dude,
like
I'm
looking at the pictures.
5 years, I think, buddy. Come on.
What's up?
He's pass away in 5 years.
No, not 5 years, but definitely not. You're gonna live till 100, bro. I imagine that where it's like my father, right? Like looking at pictures of him, like videos and just the conversations we've had. It's all just like, I don't really know what that's gonna feel like. All I know is from the people that I've talked to about grief, where it's like difficult at first, but then eventually the memories become like really feels really good. I don't really know anything about it because I haven't gone through it.
Yeah.
But that's certainly what I could see one of your sons after you've passed away, after being 100, they'll listen to this and go, wow, like that was my father, James. And then maybe they'll show it. That's the beauty of technology too, is they can show it to their sons one day, their daughters.
It immortalizes you.
Yeah. And it's just, I know technology is something like a lot of it I don't agree with, but like this is one of the beauties of it, where it's like you are instilled in there. These are memories that are just there. Even after you lose your mind, you lose your physical reality. Yeah. Can you give an example of a challenge you faced and how your mindset helped you overcome it?
Oh. Okay, yeah, actually. So last place we lived at, we were there for 2 years, and they were coming in. They said they didn't like me at all or nothing like that. And the people downstairs that lived in the basement suite were relatives of theirs. And I found out later that they were moving in other relatives into the upstairs. So when they came over, they said, hey, we're coming over to a walkthrough and re-sign lease. I said, right on, cool. All right, sign up for another year. Cool. They're like, well, we have to raise it $200 a month. I don't care. Because we're comfortable here, whatever. Reality, hindsight, the place was a shithole. It was a complete shithole we're living in. The place we're in now is way better. But they show up, they start walking around. I paid a girl to come clean the house. The place was spotless. They come in, she's like, oh, opens up the stove. She's like, oh, a little dirt in there. She just starts running me down about everything. And I'm like, what's going on? I'm like,
she's trying to find
she's like, this is disgusting how you live. I'm
flaw,
like,
so she can increase it.
Yeah, no. Like, they just kept running me down because they wanted, she was trying to get me to blow up. She was trying to get me to get mad at her, right? So that they could kick me out because they had people they wanted to move in. So I wasn't getting mad. And I'm like, look, lady, I'm like, this is ridiculous. I'm like, I paid someone to come in.
And it's clearly obvious that she's trying to set you off. Like,
she's opening up the dishwasher, right? And like, there's no dishes in the dishwasher. It's clean, but she's looking in the little rubber things, hey, like the seals, to see if there's grime in it. Like going that far, right?
The fuck's
I'm
wrong
like, what are you doing? I'm like, this is ridiculous. I'm like, you guys, we never said we were coming to do that. Quit. And like started telling me I'm getting angry with them and stuff. I'm like, what are you doing? This goes to my back room and I got this, it's an old and bought at an antique store when I was like 16 handgun. It's an antique. You can't buy bullets for it. This thing is ancient. I bought it when I was a kid at an antique store. She takes pictures of it. They leave the place, come back half hour later, give me an eviction notice, 14-day eviction notice. The first of the month. I got 2 kids.
You've got the furniture, the kitchen utensils.
So this happened 5 months ago, right? And so I'm like, what are you guys doing? And I'm reading it.
This isn't Sherwood Park?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, man.
This isn't Sherwood Park.
Yeah, like we just moved to like 5 months ago.
No, because I'm like, I've met you, like I've known you for like quite some time now.
This just happened like 5 months ago.
Fuck.
Yeah, dude. So
that's terrible.
Yeah, so like, and I'm reading the paperwork, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, I'm like, illegal handgun? I'm like, what are you talking about? And like, so they're out front still talking. She had this piece of paper, the eviction notice already printed off. She brought it with her. Right. So like, that's how insane this all is. I'm like, it's not illegal. It's an antique, right? She's like, whatever, yelling at me at the front. I'm like, okay. So I called, figured out my rights and all this stuff. And now the thing is in that situation, finding a place for a single dad with 2 boys is hard. People don't really want to rent to you because people don't think you're clean. First off, well, I had that a lot when we first moved out. A lot of places when I looked at, they said, well, who's going to clean? Me and my boys are. Well, there's no girl. Like it's really weird. But that was, a lot of places said that to me. So in finding another place, we got super lucky, found a place, got into it really quick. And it's a far better place, way nicer people. So everything worked out better. But there was a point there when it first happened where I'm sitting there on the couch. Like, where am I going to have to move into Edmonton now? Or my kid's not going to be able to go to a school in a Drawson? Because that's the whole reason I live in Sherwood Park, so they can get bused out to a Drawson. So you get all these things going through your head. You're like, man, like, there's potential that I might have to move into Camrose with my parents. I might have to move back with my parents. Like, I don't know what's going to happen here because we do live basically paycheck to paycheck too. So now I got to come up with $5,000 by the end of the month, well, by the middle of the month to get into a place because I have 14 days to get out. I'm like, so I checked in my rights, get everything done, but I just had to, for my kids, right? And that's what propelled me to go forward. That's what stopped me from going to get a ball and getting drunk. That's what stopped me from going out drinking. That's what stopped me from doing the things that people are more common to go towards when you hit adversity like that.
And you got through it though. I'm proud of you, man.
Got through it. You didn't even know about it.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you were still at the gym
when
all this was happening.
But that's the thing, because like my kids, dude, I don't know what I'd be without them. I don't think I'd be this person. I don't know if I'd be able to go through the things I could. I don't know if I'd be able to accomplish anything that I've accomplished, or if I would put the work into accomplishing it.
Yeah, you derive strength and willpower. Your kids give you energy. And while this lady, she could have gone the honest route and went, okay,
dude,
hey,
if she would have told me, hey, I'm moving, because I know they're living there now, because I drove by the place. I know exactly who was there. The people that are living upstairs were staying in the basement with the family in the basement for the last 2 weeks that I was there. So it's very obvious. It's all how it was. She could have just said to me, hey, I got people I want to move in here. Can you get out? We'll give you back. I'd be like, hey, can you give me half my damage right now so I can find a place by the end of the month? Blah, blah. I understand.
Be civil about it.
Completely, not come in, try to gaslight me until I blow up. And then that doesn't work. So you're running around in the place, taking pictures of stuff, trying to find like illegal storage of guns and all. Like,
yeah, very immature. It's
first thing that goes through your head is you're like, cool. Like I instantly called the cops. I'm like, hey, do you guys want to come check this out? Because I don't want you guys coming thinking I'm got guns in my house and stuff like that, because you punch my name and it doesn't come up good with the police. So I mean, they punch my name. I don't, so I mean, instantly you go into thinking about that because of who you used to be and whatnot. And
you start thinking about the ways that you could be incarcerated because of this made up lie that
even if it takes up a day or two of my time, that's a day I can't miss of work. That's a day I can't miss this. That's a day I can't miss that. It doesn't, even though it's not really going to do anything in the end, I'm not going to go to jail for this. It's not illegal, nothing like that. If it takes up my time, I can't afford not to have that money from work. I can't afford to not, and that's where it really gets to you.
Yeah. You are a father raising 2 kids and having to move for given 2 weeks with all the stuff, the furniture, the kitchen utensils, the little pots and pans.
My dog.
No, it all add up. Yeah. Do you have a dog?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Oh, and a dog.
Yeah.
Everything.
She's 10.
Yeah. Oh, wow. And then but your kids, you derive strength from your kids. Had you just been alone, I bet you it probably must have been way harder. It probably would have been way, way harder to find a solution because, okay,
if I was by myself, I'd be sleeping on someone's couch, yo.
It's just me. I got my buddy over there. But then no, you have 2 kids who you want to give everything, who you want to be able to give the life that you never had.
Stability is the big thing.
Stability, yes. Yeah. And you're thinking of, okay, the school, like they're gonna have to make new friends at another school and like going to Camrose. They're playing football.
I want to crawl back to my parents' place. Yeah. Fuck that.
Yeah, no, and exactly. And there's all these things, and you're put to the test. Now, are you gonna fulfill your role as a father, as a person that they rely on?
Protector, provider.
Yeah, can they rely on you? Can they respect you and rely on it to be able to put food on the table and to be able to give them shelter? Because before 18, man, like there's really, the high school kids were all defenseless.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
I guess when I was in high school, like it's just, I can't imagine what life would be like without my father, my mother, and just like.
Yeah, see, I moved out when I was 16.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like, that's the thing. I always say, I do everything for my kids. The whole reason I live where I live is so that they can go to school there, because I'm not pulling out of school where they got friends. My older son has some friends there where he had trouble with friends before that. Before football, I don't think he had any friends. Football really helped him have a belonging and stuff like that. So that's where he is. So I'm not pulling him out of there. Me getting kicked out, getting that eviction notice really made me put my money where my mouth is. What lengths are you gonna? How are you gonna figure this out, James? How are you gonna make sure that you have a place? Where are you gonna find the money? What are you gonna sell? What are you gonna do? Who are you gonna borrow money from? Who are you gonna talk to? Now, what are you gonna do for a reference? The place you've been at for 2 years, you ain't got a reference from there because they just evicted you 14 days, regardless of the reason, if it's bullshit or not. They're not giving you a reference. So now you don't have a reference to work on. Before that, you were buying an acreage with the girl you broke up with. And that's not, what do you got now? Now you got 2 kids. It's hard to run from, like, so what do?
There's all these things coming at you, different variables. And while this facet may be a little small thing, then there's this and there's this. Maybe this takes 10 minutes. This makes 10 minutes, but it's all going to take just days and upon weeks. And then you're also just immersed in all these little things, but they add up. And then there's also the big things, like which one do you prioritize, right? And certainly having your kids with you probably just propelled you to be able to punch through and just deal with all the adversity that came your way. And now you look back and you got through it.
No, exactly. Yeah. It's the thing that's they really help me prioritize, where I make sure that they're okay. I make sure they have what they need and want, and then I come second by far, which probably made everything way easier, to be honest, because there's no time to feel sorry for yourself. There's no time to cry about, oh, my life sucks. Yeah, cool, dude. Do you want theirs to suck?
Yeah.
What the fuck are you going to do? Pick your ass up.
I find that thinking about myself actually makes me miserable. Like when I get like really egotistical and I go, oh, look at me. Like I'm so cool. I'm so jacked. Like I've had all these things. Kind of like over time, well, it feels good in the short term. It kind of feels a little bit vain for me. I think maybe it's just the type of person that I am. And I become miserable. But when I think of my little brother, he just turned 6. I think of my parents, and I want to give them the life after all these sacrifices. I want to give back. I'm just motivated to be able to hit the reps at the gym, to be able to cultivate a life that propels me for success, to one day give back to my loved ones. And I find that I think for majority of people, that's the case, because I've seen parents, like immigrant workers, Filipinos, work 3 jobs and they get like 2 hours of sleep and they just don't get tired. And I'm like, as a high school kid, I used to work at McDonald's, and there'd be these Filipino ladies with like 2-3 kids back at home, and they're processing the papers, and they're working 1 full-time job or 2 full-time jobs, and then a 3rd job of just part-time, and it adds up to like 100 hours per week. And they don't get tired. And it's that like, why? It's that why, right? Why do we do the things that we do? Okay, maybe it's for me, right? And I've had many friends who are in their studies, who are working, and the slightest bit of pain, they flee. Because just yourself isn't strong enough, I find. I don't know.
No, I don't think you like you have to have one hell of a reason if you're going to be yourself strong enough. It's it's far easier in groups, as always. Having people that feel the same way, or even having somewhat of cheerleaders, I guess, type thing, people that will cheer you on, helps out big time. But the selfless, having to protect somebody that's, they're here because of you, is definitely probably the biggest motivation.
Because one day you're not going to be around, and can they fend for themselves? You need to be able to equip them with the right lessons and be able to give them a little push to get the ball rolling. Because one day you're not going to be as healthy, and you're not going to be able to work a full-time job and be able to, if you do get evicted when you're like 60, 70, like you don't want some man child in the basement that you have to string along, right?
Exactly,
You
man.
want a person that can fend for themselves. And yeah, I thank you for coming on the long-term podcast,
Oh, of
James.
course, brother.
Yeah.
Man, I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Is there any last words you would say to single parents, single fathers, particularly? Any words of encouragement?
Oh, words of encouragement. You know, you got to look back at everything. Nothing changes very quick. You're never going to look at anything today, tomorrow, or the next week that's different. You have to look back at where you are today compared to where you were a month ago, 3 months ago, a year ago. The relationships that you have with your kids as a year ago, 6 months ago, not the relationship you have today, tomorrow, the next day. The changes never come quick with that. Everything is hard as shit. It's always gonna be hard. But I find that it's easy to find power to go through everything, regardless if your kids like you or not, just using them, very much so. And, if I can do it, anyone else out there can do it for sure. So it's not that hard.
James, everyone, to Tylosky. As always, to everyone listening, watching, there is a place for you in this chaotic world. Never lose faith. Have hope. I think I reversed that. And keep it long term. Everyone, peace.